the House overwhelmingly just passed a measure to effectively ban TikTok, force the Chinese company that has a stake in it to divest. And it's clear why. There's the official reason is that, this is a concern about data privacy and the Chinese Communist Party getting access to Americans' data, when actually really they have no evidence to support that allegation. Because again, like, why would China care about the data of young American kids uploading dance videos? The real reason is this is sometimes acknowledged that because TikTok is not controlled by American companies, that allows for dissent against American policies on the platform. And this has been particularly acute since October 7th, when there's organically on TikTok, there's been a huge surge in pro-Palestine content with people criticizing Israel. And that's led to this freak out and prompted this ban, which both parties are rushing to embrace.
So the question is there a sort of hidden ulterior agenda that isn't really being explicitly stated by those who want to ban TikTok? And we can go back to several exchanges. For example, here's the Singaporean CEO of TikTok being grilled by Senator Ted Cruz, one of the supporters of the TikTok ban. And, Ted Cruz says the quiet part out loud.
If you look at what is on TikTok in China, you are promoting to kids science and math videos, educational videos, and you limit the amount of time kids can be on TikTok. In the United States, you are promoting to kids self-harm videos and anti-Israel propaganda.
And anti-Israel propaganda. And as we know, I think, was that before or after October 7th? I don't quite remember, because that CEO visited multiple times.
Yeah.
But it's since October 7th, it is clear that TikTok influencers of the so-called Zoomer generation have done a very effective job of advocating for the rights and humanity of Palestinians on TikTok. And there's no other platform that allows them the creativity, the creative flexibility to do that. And it really taps into a particular market that freaks the pro-Israel lobby out. The Israel lobby's freaked out. They're like, we have no future among young Americans. Actually, Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League, in a leaked call, I guess that was sort of recorded without him knowing, this is a private call among Israel lobbyists, stated this openly. This is Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL.
All the polling I've seen, ADL's polling, ICC's polling, independent polling, suggests this is not a left-right gap, folks. The issue in the United States of support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And the numbers of young people who think that Hamas's massacre was justified is shockingly and terrifyingly high. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Taglit, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this, like, fast.
So he's calling the generation that support that sees Palestine solidarity as an important moral basis for its own identity as the TikTok generation. He puts TikTok front and center as a reason why the young are falling away from supporting Israel.
And he references there, he says, we need the same minds that gave us Taglit to take this on. Isn't
right.
Taglit Birthright?
Yeah.
Right. So Birthright is the program that pro-Israel forces run to send young North American kids to Israel, brainwash them, indoctrinate them into Zionism and worshiping the state of Israel, hating Palestinians. So he's saying we need that same kind of innovation to now counter TikTok. And I guess that includes censorship, because that's what's being pushed now through Congress. And you found this article, Max. You sent this to me. It's an article in the Wall Street Journal, which interviews Jacob Hellberg, who's a member of the congressional research and advisory panel called the U.S.-China Economic Security Review Commission. And the Wall Street Journal talks here about how this guy Hellberg was trying to put together a coalition against to build support for banning TikTok. Hellberg has been working on building a bipartisan, bi-coastal alliance of China hawks. Okay, and then it goes on to say it was slow going until October 7th. The attack that day in Israel by Hamas and the ensuing conflict in Gaza became a turning point in the push against TikTok, Hellberg said. People who historically hadn't taken a position on TikTok became concerned with how Israel was portrayed in the videos and what they saw as an increase in anti-Semitic content posted on the app. So there it is. It's
There it is.
right there. Yeah.
Why before October 7th? Why after has it been so easy to do? I mean, and what's amazing is the unity of Congress on this issue and how isolated the opponents of the TikTok ban are. It's almost like a vote on sending aid to Israel. One of the few times when Congress is united. But you don't have the characters like Jonathan Greenblatt out there leading the charge, even though the ADL plays such a seminal and important role in online censorship, in the censorship industrial complex. They're like a vetting partner for Meta and all these other platforms. You have the anti-China hawks pushing this. It's like the perfect, and I think, yeah, China they might be concerned with it, but it's the perfect cover. And there are serious issues with TikTok. Like if my kid was hooked on TikTok at age 12, I would treat it like a crack addiction. I mean, it's a fact that TikTok is psychologically hacking an entire generation of young people in the US and dementing their identities. That's a fact. But it's also a fact that one of the most popular search terms on TikTok since October 7th has been Palestine. And we see the largest growth in influencers and hits, just clicks alone on this one issue. And TikTok is already heavily censored. We had one of our most viral videos on TikTok. I think it was about the Hannibal Directive, be just straight up banned at our account, which we're still trying to build at the Grayzone. So they can't control the Palestine content, so they're going to blow it all up.
Yeah.
It's so funny to see all the like right-wing influencers, all the right-wing podcasters sort of try to defend this while they claim such opposition to the censorship industrial complex and support free speech, the Constitution.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, Charlie Kirk, we get it. You're paid by Zionists.
Yeah. All that's forgotten.
So, I mean, what's going to happen with this bill?
I'm sure it will pass. I'm sure it will pass, and Biden will sign it for sure. For sure.
What do you think about the algorithm on Twitter X? Has it like changed since Elon went to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro? I mean, have you noticed any shift?
I don't know. I haven't personally, but what's your experience been?
Well, one of my experiences is Kit Clarenberg was banned for basically mouthing off to Zionists. Permanently banned. Someone who has exposed the UK national security state and upset them because counterterrorism cops in the UK detained him and interrogated him about the Grayzone, about me, and about his own work. Paul Mason, the security state collaborator who is still vying for a seat in parliament, leftist celebrity journalist, he's been pushing this national security law as a means to get people like Kit Clarenberg jailed because he's a British citizen. I wonder if the discussion on Twitter has been on Israel-Palestine has been limited and corralled by the Israel lobby since October 7th. They've been putting so much pressure on Elon. And remember, Jonathan Greenblatt and the ADL were running this campaign against him to basically get all the advertisers to pull out, to get him to sell the company, to shut it down. And then at some point, Jonathan Greenblatt sort of went away. So I'm concerned. And I mean, I would be concerned, or I'd be willing to bet that this bill, even if it doesn't pass, is going to give more momentum to the censorship industrial complex to at least force the executives to allow more content moderators from the intelligence services and from the Israel lobby in the building. I think that's going to be the ultimate result.